I did. Yes, you do. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I take a vacation.
Thank you so much, Mary. And Father, I see so many of my colleagues in office. I see so many leaders, not only for the Girls and Boys Club, but leaders in our community, really strong leaders. And it's wonderful to see you here today paying tribute to her. And Hassanin, thank you for the wonderful commitment from your family and for traveling so far to be with us today. And I especially want to thank Peter Vallone Jr. He makes light of it, but believe me, I was city council member myself, and it's not easy to pass any piece of legislation in the city council. It's hard work. We thank you for your work and for making this happen. And to my good friend and mentor, Peter Vallone, to Tina Marie, to know her is to love her. Wouldn't she have been a wonderful First Lady for our city? Tom Moriarty, I just have to say, I never see Tom that he doesn't come up to me and tell me his vision for the next thing to do for the Boys and Girls Club, as he did today. And like so many of our elected officials here, Janaris, Simotis, he always has a new plan to expand, to add housing, to add seniors, to add more activities for the young people. It's a very exciting educational program that he's working on. Ann was an extraordinary leader, and one thing that has not been mentioned about her today is that she was the very first woman in our nation to head a boys club. Talk about breaking the glass ceiling. She was the very first one, even before it became a Boys and Girls Club, and had that position. And she brought a better life to so many people because of the opportunities here. In recognition of her many contributions, I have flown a flag over the Capitol in her honor. I have a certificate here that says that it was flown on September 30th over the Capitol of the United States in honor of our great leader, our great friend, the inspiration and rock on which this building was built in many ways, Ann Buehler. And I'd like to present it to her granddaughter, Emily. Is Emily here? And here is a flag, the young special flag for your family. Congratulations. Thank you.
Emily? Okay. We'll now have the dedication. Do you want to speak before? Emily.
I think everyone here will agree that Ann Buehler was young at heart. I often marveled that my 90-year-old grandmother attended more parties and events than my sister and I combined. Even when it seemed like life was telling Grandma she was getting old, she refused to listen and slow down. Like most people, she wanted to be remembered, and I think she worried that she wouldn't be. Of course, we'll all remember her, but having her name as a permanent part of Queens, and especially here at the Boys and Girls Club that meant so much to her, is the perfect memorial. I can picture her up in heaven today showing the newspaper clippings about the ceremony to all the other residents. Grandma is a tough act to follow. I often think I won't accomplish half of what she did. It's important to remember, though, that every act of good in the world helps, no matter how small it is. I'd like to end with a poem by Emily Dickinson that expresses the meaningfulness of even a small kindness. If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life be aching, or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain. From the whole Buehler family, my parents, Aunt Sally, and my sister Anna Megan, thank you for coming today.
Started within 50 years ago.
Yeah.
From a political football. Ready?
running down the hall right Good morning, everyone. I am so deeply honored to be hosting this event because, as most of you know, Ann Buehler was my dearest, dearest friend.
Standing with, I was this high, but I was standing next to Mr. Hassanine, who was like Omar Sharif, but just better looking than him, right? All good looking. My father, Mr. Skouras, who I found out was the godfather to Sal Hassanine's son, who owned all the theaters. You remember the Astoria Theater and the Baird Theater, the theaters around here, Skouras Theaters? Well, that's why it's called the Variety Boys and Girls Club of Queens, because they still have supported us to this day. And all that time, as Freddie would tell you, Ann Moniston, who was gorgeous standing here with them back at the time, and will remain gorgeous right up until now, was always the spirit of this country. And will live on forever now, because of a certain politician, not to be named alone, who named us public servant. And I think that her spirit, she's right here now. She's here. You're going to feel her presence in all this world. Thank God.
I had a 5 pages long sermon for all of you. Do the best I can. In 1952, Astoria was not what it is today. Astoria was going through a serious social problems, and there were a gun problem, and kids would come from school to empty homes and no parental guidance. And Ann decided in a parking lot that she had to do something about that. And it made me think that you had to be a visionary to be able to see this building in a parking lot, providing services for hundreds of kids many, many years after she had passed. But she did. She had that vision. I met Anna 11 years ago at the Episcopal Church of the Redeemer, where I serve as rector, a few blocks from here, during Mass at 8 a.m., where a group of small, elderly, science fiction buff congregation should meet at 8 in the morning. I used to quote to them Jane Austen, and they would go like, but then one day I mentioned Babylon 5, they all knew it, they knew the stories, and I thought this is the weirdest congregation I ever taken care of. I met her always at breakfast at Crescent Corner, where she, in a very sly way, will steal my orange juice and then claim double. I don't know what happened, Father. They didn't put your orange juice. I said, you have 2 glasses of orange juice in front of me. She was a diabetic, and therefore she knew I was not going to be happy with that. I don't think a small piece of paper, half a page, can actually give a truthful account of who she was, or not even my imperfect words. But I can see her sitting outside my flea markets at the church table, dragging some of her friends who are here, who are not Episcopalians, working at the flea market of the Episcopal Church. I can see her, coming to work regularly to the Boys Club many years after she had officially retired. And I remember Sally Ann telling me about, Father, do something with my mother because she should not be working. And I said to her, Sally Ann, your mom is happier doing that. It beats the heck out of watching TV. And so let her do whatever she wants to do, and she will die doing it. So let her be. I remember Ann attending every Hispanic dance we ever had. And she never danced, of course, but then she will sit and watch and say, I love seeing the Hispanics dancing. I really like it. I knew Sally Ann and Barry long before I actually met them, because she could not wait to tell me all about Sally Ann and Barry. I met Sally Ann by phone first, when Sally Ann was trying to commandeer some Greek restaurant to send food to her mother because she was not eating properly. And Ann later on telling me that the food was still in the kitchen, she didn't like it very much. I saw Barry pushing her wheelchair out of Mount Sinai Hospital many times, where she was a regular guest and a permanent critic. Ann Buehler was a Christian of conviction. She was also a...
Along with Cubby Broccoli, And Sala inherited that responsibility from George. And my brothers and myself
always tell me, you plan the event, I'll take care of the weather. He really took care of the weather for Ann today. Ann Buehler, what can I say? Everybody knows how much I love the lady. I got to meet her when I joined the board. I knew her a little bit before from the community. All the people here today that ever got to share in Ann's life, her children, her grandchildren, her family, her friends, and this community. Also got
last. So right now I would like Michael Canaris, our senator, just to say.
Okay. Thank you, Mary. What a fitting day for a beautiful woman. I remember when I first ran for office, one of my first events was a house party at Queensview Houses just down 21st Street, and Ann was there, ready with her opinions to tell me what I needed to do. But it just goes to show you, she was involved in this community long before any of us were. And her stamp is quite literally on this building, in the form of her beautiful face on the mural on the side of the building. But her stamp really was made throughout this entire community of Astoria, and we are all going to be grateful for many generations to come, because the great neighborhood that we all love is the way it is because of people like Ann, and specifically because of Ann and all the great work she did, not only with the Boys and Girls Club, but throughout the entire community. And so I'm grateful to have the opportunity to participate in the ceremony today with all my colleagues, and to watch this lasting tribute to Ann Buehler today. Thank you.
And now our State Assembly woman, Arabella Simonis.